Welcome to another episode of Should You Take That Case with your host, Lisa Wade, your friendly neighborhood legal nurse consultant, owner of Wade Nurse Consultants, and creator of our private LinkedIn community, the Attorney Medical Record Resource Group. That is where we get all of our stellar attorney guests. The goal of our show is to be a resource for legal professionals who pursue medical cases by sharing their experience and insights as defense or as plaintiff attorneys. You can catch prior episodes at www.wadenurseconsultants.com/blog on LinkedIn and on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Now here's the host of Should You Take That Case, Lisa Wade.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I am Lisa Wade, your host, and welcome to Should You Take That Case. I am the owner of Wade Nurse Consultants. We're legal nurse consultants that help attorneys dive in and figure out all of those medical records that come with the personal injury or medical malpractice cases that they have. But I'm also the creator of the Attorney Medical Record Resource Group. That's our private group in LinkedIn. That's where all of our wonderful attorney guests come from. And we use this as an opportunity to get to know one another. And we're going to do that today with our guest, Brian Brown. And we'll do that in just a moment. First, we are going to scoot over to the comments and see if anybody is visiting us live today. We want to welcome you. If you're an attorney, put an A into that chat. If you're a paralegal, put a P. But if you are, put a W if you're part of a wonderful group that I find near and dear to my heart, Women Owned Law. They are a wonderful, groundbreaking group that has been created to advance women legal entrepreneurs. And you can join us on November 1st for a totally virtual open house that we're holding. If you're interested in learning more about women-owned law, interested in networking, or hearing about 5 business ideas for 2023, join us November 1st from 12 to 1 and visit us at womenownedlaw.org to register. I hope we'll see you there. Now, again, I just want to welcome everybody who is catching us live or catching us on the replay for taking time out of your very busy days to spend with us. And now let me introduce our guest for today. Brian Brown has tried over 100 tort cases and has obtained multiple multi-million-dollar verdicts. In addition to his trial experience, Brian has extensive appellate experience, having appeared before the Maryland Court of Appeals 12 times and the Court of Special Appeals more than 50 times. Outside of his legal work, Brian has served as the president of the board of the Maryland Disability Law Center, now known as Disability Rights Maryland, and has volunteered with other civic organizations, including the Upton School Foundation and with Higher Achievement. And now I bring to you Brian Brown. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Lisa, how are you?
I am excellent today. Happy Halloween.
Same to you. Same to you.
All right. All right. Well, I'm so glad that you're here with us today. And I'm going to ask you all about how you manage medical records that come with your cases. But first, we want to hear all about you. We want to hear how you got into this area of practice or how you became an attorney at all. Share it all with us now.
So let's see. It is, 2023 almost. I've been doing this 37 years almost, as you can see from the gray hair. And basically, I came out of college and decided, because of friends of my parents, that, were some of them were lawyers, that it sounded interesting to me. And I really, to be very honest, at that point, I really didn't have a plan B coming out of college. So decided to go to school. And then after law school, for all those years, 37 years, I've only represented plaintiffs in a personal injury context. Everything from, small car accidents when I was first cutting my teeth and trying smaller cases, up until today, where we're doing all nursing home negligence and medical malpractice cases exclusively. And then sort of recently, for many years in my career, I was representing kids who have been poisoned by lead-based paint. And I did that for 15 years before we started going into the nursing home and medical malpractice arena.
Well, it sounds like you fell into something that you really liked and you're good at.
It's a lot of fun most of the time, but the part that's not fun is hearing the stories of the people that have to end up coming to see someone like us.
All right. Well, thank goodness you're there when they need you.
Thank you.
Well, you're talking about your cases. I'm trying to see how you pick and choose what is a good case for you to take, whether you should or shouldn't take those cases that come your way. How do you decide?
Well, first of all, that is the hardest question that someone in a firm like ours has to answer. And it's the most difficult to learn. And for a number of, so when you want to help everybody. And when somebody calls you and they tell their story, which is usually sad and sometimes shocking, your initial instinct as a plaintiff's lawyer is, I want to help this person. I want to help this family. But then you have to take a step back. And, sometimes lawyers, we forget that there's an economic decision to be made sometimes, which is, even if you have the greatest facts to bring a case, even if the negligence is obvious, the difficult thing to do is to explain to a client, yes, there's something here, but financially it's just not viable. And so that's a consideration as a business owner you have to consider. But then on the fact side of it, there's so many things. And a very good friend of mine who's been doing this a long time also says to me, I don't care what the facts are. I don't care how egregious the negligence is. If the family that you're representing isn't good, isn't someone who you think a jury is going to like, then run away. Because no matter how good your case is, if you have a family that, and we all have family stuff, so don't get me wrong, but if you have a family that doesn't get along, that there's lots of skeletons in the closet, that there's things that you can't let a jury hear, then even if it's a good case, you really got to take a second, third, and fourth look before you decide to take that case. And then there's all the other usual considerations. What happened, obviously, but then what venue are you in? In Maryland, where I am, like every other state, you have certain counties, certain venues that are more sympathetic towards a plaintiff's case, and others who are very, very sympathetic to the provider. And you need to look at that before you decide, based on the facts that you have in front of you, whether you should take that case. And of course, a whole host of other considerations. What are the damages? What was the injured party like? Is it a wrongful death case, or is it did the person survive? All of those kinds of considerations.
All right. Well, now when you are still deciding or have decided to take a particular case and those medical records start rolling in, is there a specific process or protocol that you have for managing those records and getting all of the good information out of them that you need to proceed or decide not to proceed?
Well, first of all, it can be very frustrating. And my partner, Leah Barron, is really the person who is the medical records side of it. I mean, she works more with our staff and ensuring that we have everything we need. The biggest frustrating part, and the first thing you have to do is, do I really have everything? Because you can request records over and over and over again from each facility or provider that you think you need records from. And you're looking at this and you're looking at, been doing it long enough, you know you don't have it all. Mm-hmm. You have to go back again. And we have people here who are the epitome of persistent and dogged, and that's what you have to be. First, because you can't make a decision about the case unless you have everything that you need. So that's the first step. Do I have everything? And then here we have a nurse paralegal who is, who until very recently still did a couple of shifts a month in that shock trauma here at University of Maryland, and worked, and did that a 2-3 times a month. But she's awesome at looking at the records, getting them organized, and giving us a medcron that helps the attorneys look at the case and say, okay, should we now search for an expert, or should we, tell the client we've been through this ourselves, initial evaluation, and it's just, I'm sorry for what happened, but it's not a case that we think we can pursue. But the key is organization and persistence, really. It's not rocket science in that respect.
All right. Well, it's certainly handy to have somebody on staff that knows exactly what to look for inside of those records to help you make that decision about the case or no case.
Yeah, and by the way, and sometimes, and more, a lot of times, we only have one nurse paralegal, and so we do, in an appropriate circumstance, have a nurse consultant just like you, who looks at records for us and does the same kind of thing, but on a contractual basis.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you're one paralegal. I guess they can't do tens of thousands of pages all by themselves.
Right. Yeah. And by the way, it's one nurse paralegal. We have lots of other paralegals that do all the other litigation support that we need.
All right, understandable. And so you have given so much good information here, and I know whoever's listening has found it very helpful. Is there any other advice, any other nuggets of knowledge that you have for any newbie attorneys or even veteran attorneys that are trying to make that decision about these medical type cases, whether we should or shouldn't take that case? Any nuggets you've missed?
Nuggets that I've missed. This is more of a broad stroke than a nugget, and maybe it's repetitive. But Lisa, the main thing is, I guess the best way to put it is, don't let your heart get in the way of your brain sometimes. Because sometimes, by the nature of being a plaintiff's lawyer, I'm sure all of us on the plaintiff side, we have that empathetic gene. Sympathetic gene. We want to help. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this. And our heart might get in the way. And sometimes you got to let your brain make the decision and say, I just can't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds like advice people need to hear. And you have to pick and choose what is a good case for you to take, and if it is a winnable case. That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, and you might think you have a winnable case, and the jury tells you otherwise sometimes. But
surprise! But
exactly.
It sounds like you do the most you can to prepare for before you make that decision. So I'm sure your clients like to hear the truth of what kind of case that they have before you dive in and it doesn't work out. So I'm sure they appreciate that.
Yeah, and many times, you're right, Lisa, many times people will tell us, thank you for taking the time. And thank you for taking the time to look at this. Thank you for taking the time to explain this to me. I understand, and and they do appreciate it. You're right, even if we don't proceed.
All right. Well, we have come to the part of our show where we are going to have a little Q&A for anybody that is out there and has a question for you. And are you ready to answer some questions, Brian?
I'm ready.
Excellent. So anybody that is out there catching us live and you have a question for Brian, while you are getting that question together and getting ready to put it inside the comments section, I'm going to tell you a little bit about we'll take a sponsor break, I call it, and tell you a little bit about Wade Nurse Consultants and what we do here. And then we'll get right back to Brian. Now, without a review and summary of medical records, it could be harder for you personal injury or medical malpractice attorneys out there to know if you should take that case. And here at Wade Nurse Consultants, we give you a 1 to 2 page synopsis and opinion regarding the merits of those medical cases. By using my 30 plus years of nursing experience to make quick work of your medical case screenings. So if you are watching this and you have your own nurse paralegal, this may not be for you. But if you have a backlog of screenings to take place, or you need to get clarity on a medical issue and free yourself so you can focus on your legal strategies, here's what you need to do next. Right now, we are offering a free 20-minute medical record strategy call to help you hone an efficient, timely, and cost-effective routine around your medical cases. And you'll find in the description box of this YouTube channel a link to click and schedule a consultation. And now let's get back to our Q&A with Brian. Let's take a look, Brian. Do we have any questions yet? Nope, no questions yet. But I do have a plan in place for that. What I'll do is put your contact information inside the description box of this YouTube channel. So when people are catching the replay, if they have a question for you, they'll reach out and ask you themselves. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan to me.
All right. But I do have one question for you, Brian.
Let's hear it.
Will you come back again and be on our show?
Anytime.
Good. That's wonderful. Yay. We've got a plan. So I think we're going to be closing out our show right now. And since we don't have any questions, but I'm just going to remind everybody that is watching us live or on the replay to catch us next week. Like and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you could. And if you have any legal nurse consulting questions, you can email me, lisa@wadenurseconsultants.com. But just tune in next week on Monday, 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a brand new episode of Should You Take That Case? We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching and listening to another episode of Should You Take That Case with your host, Lisa Wade, your friendly neighborhood legal nurse consultant, owner of Wade Nurse Consultants, and creator of our private LinkedIn community, the Attorney Medical Record Resource Group. That is where we get all of our stellar attorney guests. The goal of our show is to be a resource for legal professionals who pursue medical cases by sharing their experiences and insights as defense or as plaintiff attorneys. You can catch prior episodes at www.wadenurseconsultants.com/blog, on LinkedIn, and on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel and sharing this show with others.